Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Finance Magnates blockchain podcast. And today's guest is joining us from Australia. Hello, Lon.
Hi, Avi. How are you?
Great. Would you please introduce the NEM Foundation?
Yes, sure. Well, basically, the NEM Foundation was set up because there was a necessity for us to uh, make ourselves more legitimate. And previously, NEM was a loosely knit community of a few thousand followers on the coin itself, but NEM as a project needed it to be legitimate, and therefore what we did was we founded the company in, well, it's not a company, but it's a company limited by guarantee, and it's based out of Singapore. So basically what this NEM Foundation is going to do is to promote the blockchain technology more so than the coin itself, and to uh, basically introduce this to the mainstream businesses, especially the industries, the governments, and the academia. So in a nutshell, the NEM Foundation was founded based on the premise and the charter of these three pillars, which is the industries, the governments, and the academia.
I see. And can you give us some background about the coin?
Well, the project started in early 2014, and initially the vision was to create a coin that is based on a, 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 a technology that was being developed from scratch. And we had a look at the various projects that was ongoing at the time. And one of the things that we actually uh, learned from was this project NXT. And that's when the developers came from part of the NXT development group, and they decided that they should come out with something that's much better. And that's when NEM was actually conceived. And that was in January 2014. And in June 2014, we came out with the alpha version. And in 2015, we came out with the launch, and that was the beginning of NEM as a project in terms of a working solution. So, and as I said earlier, uh, the original intention was to create a new project and to have a new coin. But over the last 2 years, we have actually morphed ourselves into an enterprise blockchain solution. And the reason why we call it an enterprise blockchain solution is because we have both a private chain and a public chain. So, and the private chain is more for the enterprises or the mainstream businesses to make use of, and that's how it all actually came about, the coin and the project.
Mhm. I see. So at the moment, would you define it similar to Ripple, the XRP, which is like a very how to say institutional blockchain, or a coin like Dash coin?
Well, we are not a coin like Dash coin. We are not just Ripple. Ripple is more application specific in the sense that they provide the solution for the banking and the financial businesses, where it more specifically they are designed for correspondent banking, right? And what NEM as a project is concerned is that we have actually designed our solution based on a wider spectrum of applications. So Ripple is a subset of what we can do. We do not do what Dash does, in the sense that anonymity is not our priority. Therefore, it is more so a mainstream solution rather than being anonymous. And uh, what NEM does is that NEM provides, in a nutshell, a few things. One is the financial industry, where we could actually do correspondent banking. We could also do things like settlement, payment, as well as issuing digital currencies for fiat money, for example, to represent the fiat money. So, in other words, NEM as a project, we could actually roll this out for any country that wish to issue their money on the blockchain, or print money to be exact, in lieu of what they are doing now as in print physical money. So we could actually do that as well as a project. So that's where it is fundamentally very different from what Ripple can do. So Ripple is more on correspondent banking. And in the other end of the spectrum, on what we can offer as a project or as a blockchain technology is notarization, document hashing, as well as proof of existence of documents. So this is where we are more catered more for the industries, and the extension of this sort of things with the ledger that we have, as well as with the proof of existence, we could actually extend this to other things like, for example, um, uh, game publishing, where you could actually issue game points, and then logistics. So it's a lot of industry. At the end of the NEM was actually designed based on the core, and the core is where creativity can be used and can be applied upon to create more applications where the NEM blockchain can be used.
Mhm. I see. Can you give us, is there are already working examples for companies that adopted the NEM blockchain?
Well, one of the things that we've been promoting, as you probably know, or as the industry probably know, most financial applications are, in the proof of concept stage. And one of the reasons why it is in the proof concept stage is that no one blockchain has been able to offer something that is holistic as well as workable. So, and what NEM is, all this while in the last 2 years, it has been so very much under the radar, and therefore we have not, we as in the industry have not been able to roll out anything. So one of the things that I have been doing personally, going back to before 2014, is to be able to roll out something that could use the blockchain technology for the financial industry. So that's how I started initially, and 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 throughout these 3 years, where I was pretty much involved in the NAM project, we have designed this solution based on that, which is the financial industry. So uh, to to say that we have an example, we don't have, but to say that we have a product, yes, we do. And what we are trying to achieve now, especially from my perspective, as while I'm still the president of the NEM Foundation, I do have my company that's doing financial solutions. And while this thing's happening, to basically roll out this as an example is when my company, Dragonfly, is actually going to roll it out ourselves. But before rolling out this thing, we will need to make sure that we have the correct licenses to roll them out, because we are basically issuing digital money, right?
Hmm.
So this is one project that we're working on, and with respect to other examples, especially in Japan, where there have been a number of applications, in terms of microfinancing, in terms of logistics, as well as in terms of loyalty program, where some of these companies are actually testing on them. They haven't rolled out yet, again, because of the, I don't know whether it's the fear or it's the, uncertainty in blockchain, or trying to get to know blockchain, because blockchain is still very nascent as a technology. So it hasn't gone to the stage. But I think in 2018 is when we'll see first rollouts of major applications, especially for NEM.
I see. By the way, speaking about Japan, can you explain to us the latest cooperation with Tech Bureau Japan?
Well, Tech Bureau Japan came forward to us and basically financed us when we were loosely knit community to develop a private blockchain for them. And this private blockchain is, they name it as Mijin. So Mijin is developed based on the NEM blockchain technology and has been made into a permission or private chain by our developers for Tech Bureau, so that we could actually use this to market it to the mainstream enterprises where they do not want to use or do not want to make use of the public chain for various reasons. One of them obviously is privacy of their transactions and control of their transactions. And as a private chain, most enterprises are looking at operating it from a centralized control manner. So the private chain is the most suited solution for them. So this is how Tech Bureau came about, and this is how we as NEM now is working very closely with Tech Bureau to roll out a lot of things around the world as well.
Mm-hmm. From what I saw of their platform,
Mhm.
it looks like they're planning to, in a sort of way, compete with Ethereum over ICOs.
Well, that would be their latest rollout, which is COMSA, right? Of which I'm also
Mm-hmm.
involved, intimately involved, together with my vice president Jeff. Um, it is not really like competing. It has always been, as I was saying earlier, NEM has always been under the radar. So we started off, we never really had an ICO. We had contributions from the community, and the contributions was something like $100,000 worth of money, and we worked based on that amount of money to be what we are today. To be, in fact, today to be more than $2 billion as a market cap. So we never had that money, therefore we never had the firepower to actually promote ourselves globally. So what happened was that in as early as 2015, about 5 months after the launch of our project, we actually already have developed a solution that we could use for ICO. So it's like 2 years ago that we already have such a solution, but just because we have always been under the radar, that we did not get this accepted or seen by many that it could be used for ICO. But today, what Tech Bureau has done with the COMSA is to actually basically bring this out, this very important or very superior feature that we have, that is bugless. Well, I call it bugless because in doing any ICO, there's definitely not going to be any so-called leakage or funds that could be, stolen by any party, because we have a very powerful inbuilt smart contracts already in our solution, where funds could be controlled, and it could be controlled using multi-signatory um, accounts, and therefore, as an ICO product, it is the most suited product that we think exists now in the blockchain. So this is where Tech Bureau has said, okay, let's do it proper, and let's have something that is big, and that's what's happening today. So I think by Tech Bureau coming out with this COMSA as an ICO platform, we're going to see much and many more new ICOs that could really trust a brand, which is the NEM brand.
Mm-hmm. Do you think a part of them will come from Japan? Because we've yet to see big ICOs coming from Japan.
Yeah, I think there it has been, since its announcement, last week. This thing has been, been well received by the Japanese community, and I've got a very strong feeling, especially with the regulation, so to speak, on the cryptocurrency. We're going to see a very explosive start in Japan with this ICO, and the interest has been tremendous. You know,
Hmm.
this is where I think the potential is going to be huge, especially with Japan taking the lead.
Very interesting. And by the way, because I know you're partly based in Malaysia, I wanted to know, how do you see the larger Asian blockchain ecosystem beyond Japan, like the
Well,
Southeast Asia?
okay. Basically, I started off in Sydney when we were planning and designing the NEM project, and and uh, well, Australia 3 years ago it was pretty much very quiet here, and I decided to move to Malaysia uh, in August of 2015. Right after we have launched, a few months later, I decided to move to Malaysia. One of the primary reasons for moving to Malaysia was that in Southeast Asia, and Malaysia is right in the middle of Southeast Asia. There are 600 million of us there, right? And the market is huge. And I like to liken this to the fiber optic technology, where when a underdeveloped country decide to improve their communication, they would jump directly from copper to fiber optics, right?
Hmm.
And this is exactly what could happen in the financial industries, especially in Southeast Asia, where we are very far behind the Western world. We need more things and more services to be included in our financial systems, and blockchain technologies basically a technology where they can leapfrog and provide such solutions ahead of what we already can find in the Western countries or in the developed world. So this is where my rationale is to actually move into Southeast Asia and try and promote that in Southeast Asia, as well as in line with China. And I mean, we do have a very active team in China and South Asia, in India. So this is all very close to, to Malaysia, and we are looking at half the world's population, anyways, with
Hmm.
these three regions. So this is where we are. Well, especially me, would like to concentrate on.
It's very interesting. And so, if we're speaking about Malaysia, you've recently announced that you're opening a blockchain center, a 10,000 square feet blockchain center in Malaysia. Can you tell us more about that?
Well, okay, this is probably the biggest blockchain center you can find from a blockchain project, right? So it's based out of Kuala Lumpur. Yes, 10,000 square feet, and one of the things is that we, as NEM Foundation, is going to open up a few more blockchain centers around the world, and one or two in America in the future, as well as in Europe, China. Um, these are the four major areas that we are concentrating on in the near term. And what this blockchain center does is that basically we want to use this to engage the industries, engage the governments and the academia to make them understand exactly what blockchain technology is all about. Because, like I said earlier, it's very nascent, and not many people, a lot of people know about cryptocurrencies, but few understand exactly what blockchain can do. So this blockchain center that we are opening would be able to give us the right platform to show the world, or show the region at the least, what blockchain can be used for. And one of the things that we're going to have in this blockchain center is number one, we're going to incubate, accelerate, whatever you want to call it, startups that want to do something on blockchain, especially on our NEM blockchain. Number one. Number two is to have recruit developers so that we could actually use these developers to train other developers in the industry to adopt the technology. So, and the last thing, of course, is further research and development. And in research and development, we are talking about developing new solutions where we could actually use the blockchain as a technology to provide services to the industries. So this is this is what the blockchain center in Malaysia is all about.
I see. And this is all part of a 40 million expansion plan for
Yes,
2017, 2018, right?
that's right. So the 40 million is basically a global expansion plan, and this is part of it. That's right. Yes.
So what markets are you targeting for that?
Well, the 40 million is, as I said, for the global markets, which means the different regions. We have the North American region, the European region, the China region, right?
Hmm.
Um, Southeast Asia, North Asia, Northeast Asia, as well as South Asia. Yes, South Asia. So basically, Southeast Asia is the Indian continent, right?
Hmm.
So these are the major areas, but there have been requests in as far as Africa is concerned, Eastern Africa. So um, this 40 million will be used for us basically to promote the use of our technology more so than anything else.
I see. Okay,
Mhm.
that's very interesting. And so,
Mhm.
how do you go about doing that? Do you partner with local companies, or do you actually go and establish each one of these centers by yourself?
At the moment, that is a very interesting question because the original intention was to do it all alone, right? But after having established our Malaysian blockchain center, we are already getting a lot of interest, not just from local companies as well as no, we have interest from venture capitals as well to be part of our $5 million fund that is on top of the 40 million that we're going to use to uh, incubate or accelerate startups
Hmm.
as world-class companies. Basically, we do not want to localize our startups. So startups could come from Europe if they want to, right? And we could bring them and to be housed in Malaysia, for the next 3 months, and and then perhaps put them back in Europe when we are more ready, when we have our own blockchain center there, and continue to nurture them into world-class players. And this is one of the things that we are doing very different from the traditional accelerator programs in as far as lining them up for venture capitals after 3 months of what we call inverted comma finishing school, right? This is what most of the accelerator programs are doing, but we are doing it differently in the sense that we want to hold their hands as well as give them all the assistance that they can have and build them into a world-class company. And while building them into world-class company, we do have NEM as a global initiative. We have our own so-called inquiries where businesses may want to use our solution, right? And what the best thing is to have these startups being able to tap into the market space immediately from our network. So it's a very different approach from what we have in these isolated cases of accelerator programs that you find around the world today, purely because NEM is a global network of people, and our community is large. We have probably now maybe 5 to 10,000 of us all over the place having interest in the project. So any one of them could be giving us a lead, and so that this startup could actually support them. So it's very different. So on that basis, um, we are uh, we are approaching this from a different dimension, and venture capitals are, they have some sort of interest in how we're going to do it.
I see.
So
So,
yeah, yeah,
so
go ahead.
if a startup team is now organizing in Africa or Europe, how do they approach you? How do they get to the NEM center in Malaysia?
Um, well, one of the things that we could do, or we are doing now, is, of course, to beef out our website so that we are ready to take inquiries. So they could actually write to us at NEM Foundation, or they could actually get in touch with our, we are already setting up in Europe, and we are already setting up in North America, right?
Hmm.
Um, and this thing is going to happen in the next month or so, where our website will be able to give them enough information for them to get interested in our startup program.
I see. Okay, we'll be happy to report when that's when that's launched or whether there's any updates about any companies graduating from the program.
Yes.
And um, so last question that I have is about the exchange. We recently reported that the Australia's blockchain global will be creating an exchange specifically for the NEM Foundation. If you
Mhm.
could tell us more about that.
Okay, the original, we had the idea of setting up an exchange for NEM. And one of the things that came out of NXT was their asset exchange where they made it decentralized, okay? And the biggest challenge that they have then was the number of, scammers and uh, companies or organizations that were operating in an anonymous fashion and raising money, selling assets, and basically scamming the users. So
Mhm.
we didn't like that, and we thought having an asset exchange that is decentralized has its own problems, right? And so we decided that we're not going to do that in NEM. And and one of the other reason why we were not going to do that in NEM was because if we're going to have high frequency trade one fine day, a decentralized uh, on-chain asset exchange may not be able to support that. So with those two reasons, we have decided not to do that. And we have been trying to work or do it ourselves, and because of the lack of manpower, we didn't manage to kick it off. But now that we finally work with Blockchain Global, we are able to come out with an exchange because they have already done an exchange as in ACX.io, in fact, the biggest exchange, Bitcoin exchange in Australia. So with that, we are able to quickly come up to speed in terms of getting an exchange up. And one of the other reasons that we are interested in having an exchange is that um, when we ICO, or when anyone ICO using the NEM blockchain technology or the NEM assets, smart assets we call it, they are not able to list in any exchange so quickly and so easily. So we can easily onboard them and introduce them into our own ecosystem. So NEM is basically creating an exchange ecosystem to support the projects that we have. And this is very important. And again, this is the first time we work together as one ecosystem to build a very holistic solutions for anyone that want to use our technology. And that's just one part. The other part is the ability for us to also vet through whether an ICO is bona fide or whether the ICO is, a scam. So we can actually put them on, or we could delist them immediately if we find that they are, not appropriate to be listed. So this bodes well. And having said that, NEM Exchange is not going to be the only one. Tech Bureau has its own, which is the ZAIF, and ZAIF is also part of the COMSA as well. So we basically have a couple of exchanges where our potential ICO companies can actually list them or dual list them in two different exchanges. So this gives us a very broad scope for our ICO players.
Definitely, it's like you're building the crowdfunding right into the system automatically for somebody that's coming into your accelerator. They graduate and go into an ICO automatically.
Yes, so this is all very exciting because this is not conceived overnight. We have been planning this for the last 3 years, and this is all coming into fruition right now. And I think the approach is entirely different from what the rest of the blockchain world is doing. And we concentrated more on making sure that our product, our solution is ready, and this is where we are today. And I think the industry will see more of us in the coming years.
I see. Well,
Mhm.
um, that's all for my. Where can our audience learn more about what you do?
Well, they could still go to our existing website, which is nem.io. As I said, sometime later this month, we will be launching our new website, and there will be more information in there for them to learn. But nem.io is the starting point.
I see. Well, thank you very much, Lon, and thank you all for listening to this podcast. Please share, like, and subscribe so you can follow us for more blockchain interviews. Thank you, Lon.
Thank you, Avi. Yep, thanks a lot.